Your favorite diva planner is here to talk about a master's in urban planning. What is that? It's basically a degree that lets you build cities. Short answer. And many of you don't know this, but I actually just finished my master's in urban planning at Harvard University. But leading up to that, there were a lot of decisions and factors that were at play and shaped my choice to attend that school over these other 5 I applied to and got into. So, a full background story, I applied to Columbia, Harvard, NYU, UC Berkeley, and UMich. UC Berkeley was my top choice. They got this Fannie Lou Hamer Center, so shout out to y'all. But because of a financial aid situation, I decided not to attend there, and I'd be happy to talk about that more in a different video, or feel free to DM me / comment. There were a lot of factors shaping my decision. My primary factor was finance. So my financial aid package for each of these schools was dramatically different. I got 3 full rides from Harvard, NYU, and UC Berkeley, and then UMich and Columbia barely gave me any money. I was like, y'all playing with me. And I knew that was important for me because I didn't want to graduate with debt, knowing that the urban planning field, unless you go into real estate development, for example, it's more of a public service job, so the salary bandwidth is kind of tailored toward that. Keep that in mind. 2, the network. So for a lot of these schools, I was actually speaking with people who finished the programs, and they were talking about the difference between going into the public and private sector. UC Berkeley was more so geared towards public sector interests, so think nonprofit agencies or working at the city government. Same for NYU to a certain extent. UMich and Harvard had more of an equal split, so if you were interested in public or private sector, it'd be easy to transition into those based off of the courses you took or the people you talked to. There were so many people you could talk to about working in these different spaces, and for someone who wasn't sure where I wanted to land post-graduation, I thought that was very useful and important for me personally. Columbia, I don't know where y'all stand because y'all didn't really talk to me, so whatever. Anyway, my third reason was actually location. I grew up in LA, I'm from LA, and I'm really interested in working at the nexus of urban planning and environmental justice. So I didn't really feel it was necessary for me to have to stay on the West Coast to get an urban planning education. I was interested in getting a variety of experience and then bringing that back home. So that was something that was important for me to consider because someone who I had spoken with at Harvard had said that, for the most part, Harvard has an East Coast network. Most of the people I know either stayed in Boston or went to New York. So a lot of people stay on the East Coast, and it's a lot harder to transition from being on the East Coast to the West Coast. So that's just something to keep in mind if you know what coast you want to be on, if there's a certain area you're interested in being in and doing practice work in, because we worked a lot with the city of Boston and other cities in Massachusetts. If those are cities you're interested in working for long term, that's another factor to consider. But please let me know if you have any other questions, comments, concerns about any of this. I'd love to help you all and prepare you to apply.